This is a special edition of the Online Success Journey podcast. During these challenging times during the COVID-19 crisis, we're bringing you fresh and relevant ideas and information to help your business. Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. Today we have Ludwig, who has had a long successful business and entrepreneurial career. He is always at the forefront of technology, digital marketing and online business. Hello, Larry.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I know the client is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my client a bit about your background, about what you did before you went online?
I've been online for, now over 25 years, so it's been a long history. I helped develop some of the first very beginning websites out there. So I've been, ever since in college, I saw the web as an opportunity where it just was literally just starting in 1993, 94 when I graduated. So the web I just knew was the future at the time. My first job out of college didn't even have anything to do with web development, web design. It just didn't really exist as far as a job position. So, I started working for a local firm developing what's called client server, which was kind of a precursor to web development. And eventually, a year and a half, 2 years later, decided to, apply for a job at an ad agency that really was at the forefront of developing websites. And they, prior to me coming on board, developed for the White House website, developed for Netscape, the browser server firm years ago. And I just saw the opportunity to help, build out, Fortune 500 websites. So what I did. And that was sort of in the 95, 96 timeframe. And
Wow.
From that, it was just really the beginnings. We were really just experimenting with things. I saw what the potential was, but things back then you had to kind of develop on your own. There was no WordPress to just roll out in 15 minutes and have a website. You had to build it from scratch. And so we were really at the forefront of making things online.
Why do you do what you do, Larry?
I develop websites. Well, really a web developer, web designer. So I've been, late 1990s, I decided to start my own firm and developed it for clients. And then in the 2009, I was really frustrated working for other clients and not really getting appreciated and figured why not develop my own website. So I created a site called Investor Junkie and grew that from zero traffic to 300,000 unique visitors a month when I sold it in 2018.
How are you seeing this today's digital marketing going on? If someone wants to leave their everyday 9-to-5 job, they want to move online, and what is happening at the moment, what would be your advice?
Well, if they're just starting out, I guess the advice would be, it's something that you don't instantly overnight become a success. It usually a success in the making is 5 to 10 years. And realize this is a long game with any business you start. And just realize that if others have been able to be successful, really model them and look towards them as leaders and guidance of what you can do and what's possible. So don't be frustrated along the way. Without question, my business had its ups and downs, and there were times where I wanted to quit. And I think being persistent and keeping really the drive going is something you have to look at almost on a daily basis.
At the moment, others are really worried and they are shutting down. The websites are closing and everyone is really thinking on what is happening, what is next. What is the future for the internet? What is the future internet?
I think the future of the internet is, if anything, more so. Right now we're currently recording this during the coronavirus pandemic, and I think it's become even more so as far as online transactions. You look at how much we're doing online. I can't imagine if we were 20, 30 years ago, we had this pandemic, what we would do as a society, or just be able to order simple things. You can still order things online and still have it delivered to your doorstep, where, again, that was really not possible. So I can't imagine how much different things would be just 20 years ago. With that said, I think in the future, I think we're still just scratching the surface of what's possible with the internet and in terms of technology and what can you do with your mobile device in terms of just day-to-day transactions. So we're still just at the forefront of this technology. So to think as a business owner or someone just starting out that everyone's developed things, there's no new technology going to be happening, that's really just not true. If you really look at the past 10 years alone and how much has advanced, 10 years ago, we really didn't have iPhone. We didn't have smartphones where we can do all these transactions on our devices, and now it's commonplace. So it's going to be the same thing in the next 10 years. We're going to have these leapfrogs in technology, and you just got to be on the forefront of what's down the pipe.
You also work in affiliate marketing. How is this doing now?
Well, I mean, usually with affiliate marketing, so that's how, with my previous website, Investor Junkie, I made money from. And I think so in 2008, 2009, you saw a lot of merchants shut down their affiliate programs. Whether it was a smart idea or not is irrelevant, but a lot of them looked at it as, well, we allocate a certain amount of ad budget, and we're going to shut down our affiliate program because it's part of that ad budget, which was not probably the smartest idea, because affiliate marketing, if you're well aware of, you only get paid as the affiliate if there's a transaction usually. So it's not based on like an ad banner. So it's, in my eyes, if you're a merchant thinking of shutting down your affiliate program, if anything, that's the thing you should not shut down during this time. If anything, you should keep it going. But unfortunately, many merchants don't look at it that way, and they still shut it down. So we had a big wave of shutdowns during 2008, 2009. But the same thing will probably happen again now. And I've seen that with some of my friends, already seen some merchants shutting down their affiliate programs, or at least temporarily suspending them for a little while. So you'll see that. But in the end, you've got to realize you should diversify your traffic. You should not rely on just one source or one major merchant for your affiliate revenue. You have to diversify. And part of it, at least one of the things I teach in our course I have, is about diversifying, having your own products and services that you have more control over. If you don't have a course, or you don't have a membership area or something, you can diversify your revenue. By all means, now is the time to do it.
Wow. So you encourage people really to go out there and start creating products? Well, I've been talking to my friends, and they'll be like, Patience, no one is going to be listening. No one is going to read these products. Why would I want to go out there and start creating something?
Well, I mean, you can even do something very cheap or free. I mean, right now you should be thinking, if you're just starting out, it depends where you are in your business. If you're established, now should be the time to look at acquiring customers and being at that long game. I mean, I'm doing the same thing with my own. This is with my new business. This is technically a new business where I'm doing consulting and offering courses and whatnot. I have the ability to do that long game and make sure I can build out an audience. So you should do that. You should look at it right now as, you may not generate a lot of revenue, or maybe decrease your course price, but you can, in the long run, build out an audience. So you should look at right now building trust and authority in the space you're in.
Do Facebook ads work at the moment?
Oh, do Facebook ads? Yeah, I mean, I've seen people, and I've experienced the same thing, decreasing in conversions and overall cost of traffic. They still work, but you may have to change your message. I mean, one of the things that I've seen is ads that are just clearly not appropriate in this time. Meaning while you may not be able to talk directly about the coronavirus, and Facebook may not allow it, or Google for that matter, you should change your message in the sense of it. You should make sure you tailor it to what the audience is feeling, or what the issues they're dealing with. So realize that they may be in a tough time. Let's say I'm targeting business owners. Understand and have empathy and understand that they're dealing with a tough time, and you're there for them to help them in this time of crisis. And really have an ad banner and messaging that relays that, as opposed to just saying that everything's hunky-dory and having these standard ads that you've been using for the past 2 or 3 years. It's just not effective. It's not appropriate at this time.
So it's time to change the messaging and try to survive and thrive.
Yeah, without question, yeah.
Wow. You have been in this business for many years. What have you learned from business as a whole?
What have I learned? I guess the core message I would convey, if someone's just starting out, would be, don't give up. I think keep persevering. I think you need to maybe change your approach, or change the things you've done in your business, and pivot, as the terminology is usually used nowadays. You pivot your business. And I did that many times along the way. But without question, don't give up. I think there are definitely tough times I've experienced personally, and have wanted to give up, but I kept persevering, and just ultimately it's the numbers game. If you keep pushing at it, you eventually will succeed. And just understand you need to improve in your business every day. You need to be constantly looking at what can you improve, and these little 1% changes over a year can be dramatic.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
I think when you're well respected by your peers, I think that's a good indicator. Not just forget money, like you said, put it to aside for a moment. I think if you're well respected and people look towards you, towards guidance and opinion, especially in these times of crisis, I think that's something to be said.
But can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people born with a talent, something drive like you, when you wanted to quit and you're like, no, I have to press on?
Yeah. I don't think everyone could be. At one point, I thought everyone could be an entrepreneur, and I think everyone could have or should be an entrepreneur. And I guess over the years, I've come to realize it does take a certain mindset. It does change a different way of thinking. And in some cases, you have to be, by very nature, you have to be going against the grain of what other people are saying. I've had many people tell me not to do certain things along the way, and where this is the wrong thing, and I just ignored them because I knew I was right, and I just knew that this was an opportunity out there. And I think in some cases you have to be very independent thinking. So if you really have a tough time going against the norms or going against what people say, in some cases you may be friends or family that say, it may have good intentions to say you shouldn't do this or why you're doing this and you'll never be good at it, may not be the best people to listen to. You have to really look at others who've been down that road before and listen to them and what they have to say. If they have the expertise and the authority to say this is a good or bad idea, then you should take it to heart. If they really have no experience and no authority in that said space, but say you don't know what you're doing, don't do it, then I think that advice is kind of not appropriate. You shouldn't listen to it. I think that's really the thing I've learned along the way is making sure, who do I listen to and what authority or what knowledge that they have that maybe I might be lacking. If they have no authority and just saying it because of, I don't know, either jealousy or just in some cases just, they think it's too scary of a move to make, you may want to ignore that advice. And I've done that along the way. I had a ex-business partner tell me my blog was a bad idea. This was for Investor Junkie, the business I sold in 2018. And ironically, could have been more wrong. So.
Wow. In your businesses, do you ever have a mentor or a coach yourself?
Without question, I think that you always need mentors, if either through direct means of hiring someone outright to help you along the way, or through mastermind groups. I've been through various mastermind groups over the years, to just reading various books and biographies. I recently read the biography on Walt Disney. I just found it fascinating how many years they struggled as a business and how close they were to the edge of bankruptcy many times over the years. And it's just fascinating. Things like that, from storytelling and from, what, help relate from your end where you're on the world, I think very much helps understand that, you too can, do these things.
What is the most valuable thing have you learned from your mastermind group?
There is many ways to skin a cat. I think there's many ways to be successful in business. And, talking to my fellow mastermind friends and became very good friends from this mastermind group in particular. I think it's helped understand that, you have to definitely look at things from a different angle and take advice from people, again, who've been there before. If you have fellow people who've been very successful in their businesses, I think it's great to help, understand their point, because each of us can add value where others may not have experience in. So by all means, take their advice to heart.
Tell us, you said that every business should learn to use the SEO. Why?
Well, it's critical. I think the stats are just astounding. I think, and I do this in a course I have, 80% of anywhere from 50 to, I think 85%, I think is the numbers, of all traffic can come from SEO, meaning search engine optimization or organic search. And if you're not focusing on that, by all means, you're missing out a huge part of your audience. That's not to say you can't be successful in paid traffic or organic social media, but by all means, if you're ignoring SEO, you're losing out on a huge audience because by very nature, SEO is much more transactional. So whether you have an e-commerce store or a blog, by all means, you should be focusing on SEO at some level.
Is that why you have to optimize the conversation and then it becomes an easy win? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it becomes an easy win because of, it depends on what your niche is. It depends on what market you're doing. But by all means, if you're optimizing for SEO, it's a long game too. It's something you just can't go and turn on like paid traffic. Paid traffic you can turn on and within a few hours, depending on how much you pay for it, you know whether or not your campaign is successful or not. With organic search, it can take literally months to, in some cases, a few years before you really see net results. So you have to plan this stuff out. You're constantly, like I said, the little 1% improvements every day. And SEO is like this. You make sure you just constantly add in new articles, improving the existing articles you have. You're making little adjustments here and there, and noticing what people are reacting to or what they're not. So really closely monitoring your traffic along the way. And SEO will reward you in spades.
What grounds you?
I think since I'm married with kids, I think just definitely seeing how, my kids look at the world differently and how, get the inner child in you, if you will. Obviously I'm a middle-aged adult, and I think some people lose sight of the kid in themselves. As they become an adult, you've got to do these certain things, you got to be a certain way. And I think as children don't have that, they have very, very little inhibitions. I think you have to look from a child's eye life.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
I would have to say constantly improving, not only myself, but my business, and just minor little changes over time. At least my goal every day, be it for myself or for my business, is to try to make some minor improvement along the way. Something, just improve something, learn something, improve something, change something, test something out, see what's working and what doesn't. And I think over time, those little changes, dramatically improves your success.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
I guess that I'm a huge car aficionado, so I love cars. I guess ever since a little kid, I've always loved cars, and I don't know what it is about cars. It's just something that just fascinates me. Not only the way they're designed it's I guess art in motion, especially some cars. They're just really, I think, a fascinating thing to look at, and how the lines are not only from an engineering standpoint and how they're built and how you can go from 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds, but also just the way they're designed from visually. I think the cars mix the both of the engineering side and art that I really just love about just the world we're in. I think that's part of the reason why I love web development, web design. I think it's just something that just fascinates me because it kind of melds those two together as well.
That's why you're into technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay. Tell us more about your consulting course.
So I have right now a course that's called Full-Time Blogger, and it's a coaching program where basically what I've just described, its ability to take an existing blog or even really for an e-commerce site. I mean, nowadays with the current situation within economically, it's getting harder and harder to acquire new customers. So the goal should be also to maximize your revenue over time. What I mean by that is how to improve the conversions of your existing customers through your sales funnel. I think many people lose sight of that fact, meaning they just are happy to get conversions, be it through affiliate or your own product or service. And I think you really need to look at your whole entire sales funnel along the way and how to optimize not only the top end, how to get the right people to your site, but also how to improve the conversions to how do you get people to repeat buy? How do you get people to buy again and again? I think those are things that are all critical that can make, in the example of my course, I show how you can literally take what normally is $100 per lifetime value meaning how much a person or a customer is worth over time, to literally, making it 6 times greater. And just making those minor little changes along the way can make dramatic improvements in your bottom line. And it can mean the difference from, being a successful business to being out of business. So my course teaches all that in Full-Time Blogger.
Wow. Who's your clientele?
Well, as far as consulting, I have some small business clientele. Or as the course, it can be anywhere from, bloggers just starting out to e-commerce sites.
Is this like a monthly membership or one-time payment?
I did a one-time payment. I mean, I may change it where eventually I do a monthly membership, but for now, I prefer to have just people, pay one time and, have a lifetime membership, where I may change that down the road for newer subscribers. But for now, it's a one-time fee, and you get access to me as far as on a one-on-one, coaching call. So I have not only a recorded course, I have a weekly one-on-one live coaching calls, so people can ask any question, what I think about their site and what issues they have with their site and how to improve it, and really look at and analyze, what options they have and stuff they may not have even thought about. I mean, I think there's so many options you can do with your business, and I find most bloggers, most business owners online just don't fully optimize their sites. They really literally leaving thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. They're just losing opportunities to improve their conversions, improve their lifetime value of their customers. And I think that really can make a huge difference. Again, especially in this environment, can be a difference from making money to going out of business.
Where can we find your product?
If you go to larryludwig.com/FTB, so Full-Time Blogger.
That's a wrap, Krani. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Larry. What are you still doing the way you work that you just know you have to stop doing?
I don't know. I mean, I guess for mine, I've always taken business where you first start off doing something, at least understanding how it works, and then figuring out how can you offload it to someone else. And yeah, so I guess one is I think once you get to a point and understand what it's about, you can easily then offload it to someone else. I think second is it something your core competencies or you like doing? Those two aspects are important. If it's something you hate doing and yet you might be good at it. There's certain things, like, for example, I'm very good at now with technology. While I don't hate it, to me it's not a challenge. So I look at, okay, how can I hire others to do my development and outsource that to have someone else do it instead? Because it's just not a challenge for me anymore. more. So I think part of it, where I'm at least financially in my business, is just having certain people do things where I just don't enjoy it, and have someone else do it for me, and make sure it's up to the standards I specify.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
It would be a quote by a band called Rush, and this quote has resonated with me for years. The name of the song is Free Will, and they have in the quotes for the song, it goes, "You can choose a ready guide in some celestial voice. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. You can choose a phantom fears and kindness that can kill. I choose a path that's clear. I will choose free will." So I guess that part of the lyrics has always resonated with me, the whole idea of free will and having the ability to pick out what you can and can't do in life, and how that affects how going one direction can literally change your whole life over time. And I think that's critical. I think thinking through, changes you made 20 years ago and how much where you are now. There's things that, as a business owner, I decided to, start a new business again in 1999. And it was very scary for me at the time. But yet, nowadays it would be old hat for me. But yet, I think understanding that decision made a huge change in my direction of my life.
What is the best business book you have ever read?
Millionaire Fastlane. I really like that book. I've mentioned that before on previous podcasts. It's by MJ DeMarco, and it's a little bit of a hokey title in terms of the name, but I think it's really relevant because it helps people understand the foundations of what to do, what businesses are better than others. I've definitely learned the hard way. Not all businesses are created equal, and I think MJ just really goes into detail very succinctly and very easy to understand how to do that in his book.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
I guess these are all good questions, by the way. Yes.
Thank you.
To me, it would be making sure I would either educate myself to improve sales or spend to make sure I did have sales. So I would use that without sales, I think any business, it's like a shark without swimming. They're dead in the water. You constantly have to have sales and making sure you have, otherwise you don't have a business. So I think it would be spent on either educating myself to understand how to improve sales or marketing, or using it to spend on advertising so I did have sales.
If the internet disappeared tomorrow, what have you learned online that you would take into your new offline business?
Well, offline and online are really the same thing. I think the means or the mediums to do things definitely change or are different, but all businesses are really the same. I mean, they have to have sales, like I just mentioned. They have to have income. They have to have customers. They have to have profit in the end. So I think all those basic concepts apply, whether it be an offline or online. Again, the medium's just different. So whether you have a storefront and you have to make sure you acquire customers through a storefront, you have to figure out how to do that offline, via traditional means, or do it online. So the same principles apply.
What is your next chapter?
Well, I'm sort of in that now. I sold in 2018, and I think now now it's just really helping fellow business owners. I think, in the end, understanding how businesses work, how to really, make money online. I've learned that and done it very well for years. I think now it's just my turn is to help others in that same process.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're on the way?
So that's something I think every entrepreneur is it's a disease in a way. I think as an entrepreneur, you always have this, you're always looking for something to help improve, and you see opportunity out there. So it's no different. I think even though I sold in 2018, it's something where I just couldn't sit on my laurels and do nothing. I think retirement from my end equals death, and I think you just constantly have to improve yourself and constantly looking out there for what ways can you help society. And I think that's what drives me, is what opportunities are out there, and there's just so many out there. Even more so today, I think I would argue, because people need so much help, and I think that's really the key. It's just making sure you're always looking onto the people that went on the Apollo moon landing. The issue they had was they were so built up for this major event in their life, right? And they landed on the moon, and they got back home, and you would think they would be ecstatic with joy, yet they got very depressed after landing, coming back home, because they accomplished this big life event. And I think you have to set up these new goals. I did that very purposely after I sold my business, is making sure I had other things outside of just this business, because you can get very depressed from, even though you are quote unquote a success, you've done very well in your life. I think without having future goals and other things to look forward to, it just doesn't help you. You have to make sure you have some future goal to motivate you.
Thank you for sharing. Remind us how we can connect with you.
The easiest way, I actually have two ways. You can go to LarryLudwig.com, or you can go to, I have an SMS or text message, and this applies more to the U.S., so it depends on where you are. If you go to or text Larry Podcast at 31996, Larry Podcast, all one word, 31996, or you can just visit the website, larryludwig.com.
Larry, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a wrap, Clan.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the online success journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.